Welcome to REDSHORT 2021. This Wednesday, we are showing an encore presentation from our REDSHORT Threat Brief Archive. In the Intel world, an analyst is expected to be brief, be right, and be gone. We hope our REDSHORT briefs are just that, of interest and useful.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our REDSHORT webinar. Today's webinar will be taking a close look at our Red Sky Alliance vessel impersonation and maritime watch lists and why they are very important. We will provide a link to the related article that can be found in our portal. Please check the chat box, which will have that link in it. Cyber attacks against global shipping have spiked 400% since the COVID-19 lockdowns. With close to 90% of the international commodities shipped via maritime transportation, these percentages should cause the industry to take close notice. Today, I'll briefly discuss the history of shipping documents and cyber evolution, vessel impersonation, and our maritime watch list reports, and a short profile on recent maritime attacks. Within the last 60 days, there have been two high-profile maritime-related hacking victims. The world's fourth largest shipping company, the French giant CMA-CGM, and the UN's own shipping regulator, the International Maritime Organization, or the IMO. So I'll be talking a little bit about both of those. And now many are now questioning the grounding of the oil spill of the Mitsui Lines chartered merchant tanker Wakashio that ran aground on a coral reef in the Indian Ocean, just south of the island nation of Mauritius. Back in the middle 1990s, I was a co-investigator of a multi-million-dollar seafood smuggling case, which was eventually federally prosecuted in Tampa, Florida. At that time, a local seafood company was altering their customs house broker and FDA documents to show that the shrimp product they were selling to vendors was a product of the United States, when in fact the shrimp was actually from India and was on an FDA banned product list. Back then, and I guess I'm showing my age, shippers were using facsimile copies of paper documents to facilitate this global commerce. In this case, fax documents were altered to indicate that the shrimp was a U.S. product, but indeed was an Indian product, and thus was the fraud scheme. Fax machines were the communication of choice in the shipping industry at that time, which in some respects almost sounds laughable. As communication evolved, unfortunately, the maritime industry lagged behind in that technology and specifically fell behind regarding cybersecurity best practices. Now added to that maritime technology tardiness, the fact that many employees in the transportation and the maritime supply chain are now working at home due to the corona pandemic causes an even added layer of vulnerabilities to the transportation sector. For over a year now, Red Sky Alliance has been providing our friends and colleagues at Dryad Global, which is a maritime intelligence service based in the UK, with maritime cyber-related reporting. They weekly report our vessel impersonation reports and provide that to both their customers, which spans a wide array of the shipping industry, both in the UK and over in the United States. Dryad Global provides really excellent timely maritime reporting. In fact, just this morning, I reported on a piracy issue in the Gulf of Guinea over in Africa. So if you want to check that out in our portal, you can do that. Our maritime reporting began in 2017 with providing vessel-related cyber intelligence to various maritime information sharing organizations, which now we provide to Dryad and we place in our redSkyAlliance.org portal on a weekly basis. Our reporting is broken down using 14 different categories of vessel types. These keywords are used to query our collection to find indicators of compromise, looking at the subject line, sender domain, sender email, sender field, and sending IP. The identified emails indicate attempts to deliver malware or phishing links to compromise a vessel, their parent companies, and/or ports points all along the transportation supply line. Users should be aware of the subject line used and the email addresses that are attempting to deliver the messages. Our reports provide a listing of potential compromised vessels broken down again into 5 categories: first seen, subject line used, malware detection, sending email, and those intended targets. We additionally provide a geolocation of those IP addresses. We then provide a complete analysis of a potential vessel compromise and an alleged transportation compromise. So we look not only at the vessels, the companies, but we look at the transportation supply chain, which could then infect a company, which in the past has. So now a couple vessel impersonation examples. The French container shipping company CMA-CGM was hit by a major cyber attack on the 27th of September of this year, which disrupted its daily operations. According to Lloyd's of London intelligence sources, several of the company's Chinese offices were affected by the Ragnar Locker ransomware. This company initially claimed that their booking system was disabled by an internal IT issue, but later confirmed that, quote, external access to our IT applications are currently unavailable after this ransomware attack. 5 days into the cyber incident, this company's IT engineers were still attempting to restore its systems. This cyber attack caused the French carrier to handle criticism from its customers that is backed up by a booking process, which was their criticism, which was inadequate. It took a full 2 weeks after the ransomware attack to return to normal operations. A similar maritime incident happened 3 years ago, which had global ramifications. The Maersk shipping line, the world's largest container shipping company and supply vessel operator, suffered a cyber attack and suffered approximately $3 million in damages in US dollars. During the attack, the shipper had to halt operations of its 17 of 76 terminals worldwide. And believe it or not, during this attack, they were forced to utilize the old-fashioned shipping paper documents. And they may even have used fax machines to get the job done during that attack. Of note, in our Red Sky Alliance collection, our analyst observed that on the 15th of September, almost a week prior, we saw indicators that identified a CMS-CGM named vessel being used as part of a malicious email using the subject line, that company's name, and the vessel, which you see on the picture up there, the Christie Colombi, which we thought was actually at first a typo, but it was actually a vessel in their fleet. This email contained a malicious attachment containing the Trojan downloader, the Emotet malware. Emotet malware is typically used to steal sensitive information from a victim's network, but it can also be used to download other malware, including, but not limited to, ransomware. Malicious emails often play a critical role in activating malware on a company's network. The email shown on this slide had a redacted message body, which could force many unsuspecting recipients into opening the attachment out of curiosity. Due to the obfuscation of the sending and recipient email addresses, analysts were unable to determine if the malicious email was targeting or impersonating this vessel user. However, attacks could also use the name of a major maritime company to entice a user into opening the email. Additionally, we offer weekly watch lists. Our maritime watch lists are offered to provide indicators of compromise to blacklist specific threats and vulnerabilities. These reports offer a full weekly CSV list of indicators and a top 5 list of indicators of compromise. Now, the last example is the grounding of the merchant vessel Wakashio. Some maritime investigators are now questioning whether the the Japanese Mitsui Lines chartered merchant vessel Wakashio could have been a dry run for maritime cyber attackers. The alleged cyber attack could have led to its grounding and subsequent major oil spill off the coast of the island nation of Mauritius, which is in the Indian Ocean. Facts show that one of the ship's systems had revealed an anomaly with that ship's navigation system, which is also called the ECDIS, or the Electronic Chart Display and Information System. This system has been previously identified by cybersecurity experts as one of the most vulnerable systems on a large ocean-going ship, just like this Panamanian flag vessel. Several cybersecurity experts have confirmed that the vessel's system, which a ship relies on for its navigation, quote, could have been exposed to cyber criminals. This could also explain some of the discrepancies in the ship's accounts, which was revealed from various maritime authorities. So some experts say the reason cyber criminal activity, quote, should be included as a part of this investigation into this incident is that if you understand the layers and all the layers of safety that this Mitsui company has placed in its fleets, which includes vessels charting and navigation systems, several major multi-million-dollar layers of ship safety protection would have had to fail to explain how the vessel ended up on this reef back in July. Thus, it indicates a suspicion that the ship's navigation system may have been hacked, caused confusion, and thus pointed the ship off course. This is not only a safety concern, but a terrorist concern, especially if a vessel is carrying hazardous materials and is in a crowded urban port. Finally, the IMO hack. On the 1st of October, the International Maritime Organization reported experiencing a cyber attack the previous day. The IMO incident response was being handled by the UN cyber teams. Their site was down for approximately 48 hours. The IMO, as it is called, is a specialized agency of the United Nations which is responsible for measures to improve safety and security of international shipping and to prevent pollution from ships. The IMO also handles legal matters, including liability and compensation issues with the facilitation of international maritime traffic. It was established by the means of a convention adopted under the UN in 1948 and then met in the first time in 1959. The IMO currently has 147 member countries and would be a very attractive target and possibly a conduit to many, many governments, companies, and transportation supply chain. The IMO has been very tight-lipped about this hack, yet experienced a second attack on the 16th of October. A Red Sky Alliance trusted source indicates that the attack was very sophisticated, and they're still looking into it. But again, they're not saying too much about it but it's directly related to the maritime industry. So what's the way ahead? So in summary, the director of the General Danish Maritime Authority recently summed up that, quote, technological developments hold great potential for improving the maritime sector even more. Denmark views cybersecurity threats on the same level as any other maritime safety and security risk. An important part of finding solutions to the cyber vulnerabilities is by engaging in international collaboration and exchanging knowledge with other strong maritime nations. In the second year of maritime security event, which was conducted in The Hague, the U.S., the Netherlands, Denmark has pledged this past month that they will continue the international cooperation on maritime cybersecurity matters into 2021 and will seek to expand participation with even more like-minded nations. So Red Sky Alliance analysts now offer 4 suggestions on how to prevent some of these cyber attacks in the transportation sector. 1, employ both inside and outside network protections. 2, use our red X-ray spectrum tool to your advantage. 3, our CTEC tool helps scour the deep dark web for anomalies. And finally, conduct ongoing and vigorous cybersecurity awareness training, as the human element still remains the weakest link in the cyber kill chain. Red Sky Alliance has been and will continue to support these efforts. Finally, thank you all for joining us today. If you have any questions regarding this topic briefed today, please contact Jay McKee at wapaklabs.com. If you missed any of the previous REDSHORT report webinars, you can find them at https://redskylliance.org/redshorts. If you are not a member, you will have to sign up in order to see these, but it's free, and membership will give you access to not only these reports, but all types of Red Sky Alliance content. This concludes today's brief, and have a great week. Thank you.